Legendary warriors, the powers that created us now want us all extinguished. We must join forces, or else forever be their slaves. For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them. Let's roll.
Here in moments.
The ultimate gala spectacle.
Holy Mother of God on earth and in heaven at the exact same time.
You want a piece of me? You got it!
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles?
First and foremost, give it honor to God and to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to see another day, for I know that I am not worthy of it. If Trump was not wiretapped, what is Comey investigating? What is he investigating? Well, we heard in the testimony from James Comey and Admiral Rogers, and it was so eloquently asked by Chairman Nunes, was there any foreign, meaning Russia, because that's what the whole stupid testimony was about, was Russia interfering with the presidential election in 2016. Were there any foreign actors via computer hacking that changed votes in all of the swing states that Donald Trump won? And Chairman Nunes went down the whole list of those swing states, like Florida and Ohio and North Carolina and Michigan. Admiral Rogers, no. James Comey, no. That should have been, as Rush Limbaugh said on his program yesterday, should have been the news of their testimony. Should have been the news of the day. Because all we know for certain, ladies and gentlemen, is that right up until this point, the Democrats are still up in arms to the fact that Donald Trump won. They are still trying to delegitimize his victory. They are still stoking these fires of Russia somehow hacking the election. Now we know for certain that they didn't. In regards to voting totals and things of that nature. Now, as I stated, if Trump was not wiretapped, as Comey says in his testimony, that there's no evidence of it, then what are they investigating? And as Comey said, they have been investigating since July, ladies and gentlemen, July of 2016. So, seeing that he can say there's an investigation, but won't expound on what is being investigated and who's being investigated, Trey Gowdy took it a step further and said, hey, okay, you don't want to, delve into the details of your investigation, but let's talk about what has happened and what you're doing about it. And he so eloquently stated and asked, what are you doing about those FISA leaks in regards to General Mike Flynn? Are those being investigated? Because those are criminal acts, felonies, ladies and gentlemen. Releasing confidential information of that magnitude. So, we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that, number one, there is an investigation, and has been an investigation since July of 2016, ladies and gentlemen. July of 2016. We know about these FISA requests, one denied, one accepted. We don't know the extent of them, who were, I guess, tallied to be surveilled. But yet, we're supposed to just not inquire, I should say, excuse me. We should not inquire that, number one, you have an investigation that's been going on since July, but you can't delve into the details as to, and you don't have to say what all you got, what, line by line, piece by piece, what your investigation has in its possession. But you can say at least, well, we're investigating this and we're investigating that. You had no problem saying, without equivocation, that Donald Trump was not wiretapped, and I still don't believe that. Because, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I've been rehashing this and rehashing this and rehashing this. If Obama went out of his way to wiretap Fox News' James Rosen and his parents, you mean to tell me that he didn't wiretap Trump? He's been going after his political opponents since day one of his presidency. And I'm talking about Barack Hussein Obama. IRS ring a bell? Hello? Hello? Is this mic on? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get off this topic and want to talk about something else. But I just wanted to talk about it, get it out there, and let it marinate. If Trump was not wiretapped, then what are they investigating, and what vehicle and mechanism are they investigating with? Second topic, I want to talk about this upcoming vote on the America, I don't know if it's America or American Health Care Act. Seems as if a lot of leeway was made over the weekend in regards to bridging that gap between the conservative caucus in the House and the mainstream, moderate, rhino side of the House. There may be a couple things that still might be in place that the conservative caucus may reject, and I think the vote is coming this Thursday. But ladies and gentlemen, just heard on the radio this morning that there is no plan B if this is voted down. And I am still so upset and so disappointed in the Republican Party that for 8 years, that all of a sudden they were scrambling, ladies and gentlemen, scrambling for an alternative. And now they don't have a plan B. After 8 years, they don't have a plan B? Are you kidding me? This is just another example of the fecklessness. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I'm saying it. Fecklessness of the GOP and the Republican Party. You've had 8 years to come up with an alternative to Obamacare. You should have had multiple, and I mean multiple, proposals at your disposal to be released to the American public. But yet you only have one, and you have no plan B? That is just think, ladies and gentlemen, in your workplace, whatever you do. I work in IT, information technology, computers. If some way, somehow, I didn't have a plan B for anything that I do, I would not have a job. Point blank, end of story. There are things that are changing and evolving, especially in the computer field, every single day. So if I'm not on top of it, ladies and gentlemen, and have other vehicles and outlets at my disposal to look to grab onto, to lean on, I would not have a job. So how is it different for the people that we voted in? $175,000 salary to start with. Works half the year. But yet, for 8 years, they did nothing in regards to having alternatives, plural, ladies and gentlemen, alternatives to Obamacare. So, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, with how the, I guess, news cycle revolves around this whole notion of either, number one, I guess because of Donald Trump's disapproval rating is like, or approval rating, excuse me, is like 37%. And they're saying that Obamacare repeal, travel ban, and what else? There's something else and I can't think of it at the moment, at the top of my head, is pushing down his numbers. I don't really care. I could care less about polls. What I do care about is the President of the United States working for the American people. And I don't care what any never Trumper says or non-Trump supporter says. The man has been at work. He has been at work putting forth his agenda. And if you disagree or agree with it, that's on you. But you can't say that the man has not been working. So ladies and gentlemen, as I sign off for this particular episode of the morning edition of the Dan Adams Show. Of the Dan Adams Show, let's try that again. The morning edition of the Dan Adams Show. It is early, and I have not had my coffee yet. So you know how it is, ladies and gentlemen. But as I digress and get back to the ending of the show, we have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the left, ladies and gentlemen, will continue this railing against Trump, trying to find whatever they can to impeach him. And with this whole repealing of Obamacare, I'm utterly, as I stated earlier, utterly disappointed that the GOP, the Republican Party, has only one option at its fingertips. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you and yours. May He keep you and your family safe. Until next time, God bless. Peace.
This poem is for the woman I love. I knew not what love was till you awoke within my heart. We are now together forever, never shall we part. I will track where you are, I'll decide whom you see. Remember, sweetheart, you belong only to me. So do what I say and don't do anything dumb, or I may have to hit you until you are numb. If you tell another soul, well, that will just make me mad, 'cause I tolerate you, and for that you should be glad. There's one more feeling I must express to you, honey. Don't ever, ever let me catch you touching my money.
Some relationships are not as they appear. That's because domestic abuse is often hidden. Join the Women's Center and Shelter in the effort to end abuse early on and help us provide emergency sanctuary to those who most need your protection. To donate, visit the Women's Center and Shelter at wcscanhelp.org.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Despite all the protests and the criticism, President Trump still has a lot of strong support.
He has the persona. He has the will to make things done.
RNG and thousands packed a rally last night in Louisville.
This is our wedding anniversary. We chose to spend it with Donald Trump.
And the president told them,
Thursday is our chance to end Obamacare and the Obamacare catastrophe.
Well, he'll take that message today to Capitol Hill, where Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live.
Dave, staunch conservatives are putting up a fight over GOP health care legislation that could go to the House floor on Thursday. Freedom Caucus member Jim Jordan wants a clean Obamacare repeal.
Why should we support this legislation? Let's do what we put forward. Repeal it. Same bill we passed 15 months ago. Separate bill. Replace it.
President Trump is trying to make a deal offering to curb Medicaid and adding more help for older people. The Repeal and Replace plan eliminates the individual mandate and provides tax credits to help Americans buy health insurance. Dave?
And Rachel, Democrats oppose it, saying millions would lose coverage. It'll get more intense for Neil Gorsuch at the Senate this morning at his confirmation hearing to replace the late Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court.
You reminded us that when you become a judge, you fiercely defend only one client, the law.
Democrats will look at ask questions. Some oppose Gorsuch as having a right-wing pro-corporate special interest agenda. There's a new restriction on some airline passengers flying to America. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has us live.
Dave, 10 airports in 8 Muslim-majority countries are affected by the ban, which is indefinite, too. Passengers flying on certain U.S.-bound direct flights only will have to check laptops, bags, Kindles, tablets, iPads, gaming devices, anything bigger than a cell phone. Now, U.S. officials say it's not based on any specific intelligence or imminent threat, and it affects about 50 inbound flights a day from countries including Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, Dave.
This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced. ISIS is taking credit for a car bombing in Iraq's capital yesterday that murdered 27 people, injured 45 more. There's a search in Tennessee for a missing teenage girl and one of her old school teachers.
15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas was last seen last Monday in Columbia, Tennessee. She's believed to be with her former teacher, 50-year-old Tad Cummins. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation increasingly concerned about her well-being.
We're going to do everything in our possibility, everything in our capabilities to bring you home. Your family wants you here. Your friends want you here.
TBI Public Information Officer Josh Devine. Cummins on the TBI's most wanted list. Devine has a message for him.
Do the right thing. Give her up. Turn yourself in. Bring her home.
A statewide Amber Alert says Cummins may have been abusing his role as a teacher to groom this vulnerable young girl for some time. Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
A man's been arrested in Colorado in the deaths of 2 teenagers earlier this month. A passerby had found their bodies on the side of a road. The FBI has recovered 2 of Tom Brady's Super Bowl jerseys, including the one from last month after New England beat Atlanta in overtime.
A Mexican newspaper company says a former executive at the tabloid La Prensa was involved in taking Tom Brady's game-worn Super Bowl 51 jersey. The search for it included the Texas Rangers and the FBI, an investigation that even came up during Director James Comey's testimony before the House Intelligence Committee Monday.
Tom Brady would probably like to express his gratitude for the FBI's assistance in recovering his stolen Super Bowl jersey, so I'll do that on his behalf now.
Thank you. By the way, if I'm honest with myself, the reason I don't like the Patriots is they represent sustained excellence. And as a Giants fan, that drives me crazy.
Also found a Brady jersey from the Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl in 2015 and a Super Bowl helmet from a Denver Broncos player. Chris Honig, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are up slightly. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
From a Denver Broncos player. Chris Honig, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are up slightly. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
Yeah, I can't answer that. Same answer. Same answer. I'm not going to comment on that. Same answer. I don't know what to make of that. Not going to comment on that. Same answer. Same answer. Same answer, Mr. Swalwell. I'm trying to be helpful, but I'm not going to answer. I understand. Not going to comment on that. Same answer. Same answer. Same answer as before. I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to answer that. Please don't overinterpret what I've said. I'm not going to answer, Mr. Swalwell. Same answer. I don't want to say.
Okay, what's your reaction to that, Laura?
Well, and look, if he's responding to questions that are purely political questions or policy questions that are not related to the FBI, then I don't really have a problem with that. But again, going back to the question of when the president was notified of this investigation, and I mean, what was he notified about? Was he notified about the specific Americans who were surveilled, Mike Rogers and Roger Stone or Carter Page? Was he aware of this? And was there any back and forth between the FBI director and the West Wing of the White House? Those are pretty important questions. At the same time, I do think it's probably pretty wise at this point for President Trump not to tweet issues or points that are tangential or that are not factually confirmed. I think 3 weeks ago when or 2 weeks ago when he tweeted that comment out about Obama wiretapping, that was a mistake. He shouldn't have done that. And I think he should stay focused on the things he promised the country that he'd do, which he did last night. It was Obamacare repeal, the wall, rebuilding our economy, all those core issues that drove the electorate. This investigation is going to run its course, right. But they're going to try to use this to now get him off track every chance they can. They want to use it to get him off track and to try to hurt his credibility. That's their goal. They want him out. I mean, they want
Senator
President
Feinstein
Trump.
said it. Senator Feinstein said it over the weekend.
Yeah. They want him to resign or they want him to be impeached. That is what the Democrats are after. Let's just let's be really blunt on what's going on here. This is not like playing footsie with, well, we'll give him a bad news cycle. They want him out. When you on the left-wing blogs or even some of the other cable competitors this morning, which I checked into, they want him out. So is he going to help them, or is he going to get back to the focus of what Kellyanne was talking about, rebuilding this country and paring back the behemoth of the federal government, get it out of people's lives when it shouldn't be in people's lives, and rebuild the trust that people need to have in this government? That's what he needs to focus on. I think he's very capable of doing that. But this FBI investigation, I think it was right yesterday, it will continue to be a cloud over this administration. They just can't, they can't create any more clouds while they're at it.
Well, do you have any evidence that Russia's cyber actors changed vote tallies in the state of Michigan?
No, I do not.
How about the state of Pennsylvania?
No, sir.
The state of Wisconsin?
No, sir.
State of Florida?
No, sir.
The state of North Carolina?
No, sir.
Well, that was the director of the NSA, Michael Rogers, during today's hearing, reminding us that despite the daily hysterics about Russia, there's no proof they actually changed the outcome of the election last fall. Mark Stein is an author and commentator, always a man with interesting thoughts. He says that Russia is fundamentally Western, and that means something. He joins us now from Burlington, Vermont, a fundamentally Western city. Mark, thanks a lot for coming on. So
this is less Western than many Russian cities.
It is less Western. It's pretty, though. So what is this about? I don't really. I mean, I understand the political component to it. Of course, we live in Washington. I get what this is about, hurting the Trump people, fine. But there does seem to be something genuine at the core here. Democrats seem actually mad at Russia in a way that I can't remember them being. Why do you think they are?
Well, I think they're mad at Russia because they want to believe that they did not lose the election, that somebody stole it from them. And that's why what we saw today, frankly, was nuts. I mean, the Democrats, as you said, they've turned Putin into a Bond villain, the man with the spider's touch, as that congresswoman almost sang today. They're two sound bites from insisting that they're going to build a new Berlin Wall and get Russia to pay for it. This is going nowhere for them. It's a massive head fake. And if you did subscribe seriously to the theory that Putin was trying to mess with America, what do we have now? We have an interminable investigation that is designed to drag down the United States government. This investigation, this furor, is actually doing Putin's bidding more than having some cabinet secretary in his pocket would. So today's hearings were bizarre in a very particular way. And when someone like Comey says, you know, Vladimir Putin absolutely hates Hillary Clinton, what business is that of a domestic law enforcement agency? Why the hell is the FBI wasting its time trying to figure out what Vladimir Putin thinks of some washed-up has-been presidential candidate?
And also, how would they know? And of course, that's fundamentally unknowable, and you shouldn't say you know things when you don't, especially in sworn testimony on Capitol Hill. So what should our posture toward Russia be? What should we think of Russia, those of us who are not caught up in that? I'm kind of agnostic. What should I think about Russia?
Well, I think Russia is fundamentally, once you strip away a century of communism, Russia is essentially the prodigal child of Western civilization. You know, it's Chekhov and Tchaikovsky and Pushkin and Rachmaninoff, and the idea that we need to turn it into an enemy simply because it has a flawed government, I think is idiotic. Mike Flynn, for example, I'm in favor of Flynn being gone, not because he has ties with the Russians, but because he was in the pay of the Turks. And I regard Erdogan as a far greater threat to Western civilization than Vladimir Putin is. And that conversation you are having at the top of the show, in which Democrats are demanding that we double down on sanctions, again, I think we ought to start thinking about this in a reasonable way. Crimea, I speak as a 19th century imperialist here, so Crimea and Balaclava and Sebastopol and the charge of the Light Brigade are engraved in my soul, but I think Crimea is a legitimate sphere of Russian influence. And the idea that Democrats are suddenly prepared to launch World War III over Crimea is completely preposterous. Where were they on this 40 years ago?
Well, that's in a very different place. It's also a little weird to hear people who've lionized Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro complain about a strongman. So quickly, Trump's position, he said it out loud, is that we share a common enemy in radical Islam with the Russian government, and we can make common cause to fight it. Is that a tenable plan?
I think so. Trump at his rally tonight was emphasizing America first. Make America great again. Putin wants to make Russia great again. And insofar as those objectives don't conflict, we should think strategically. Russia, frankly, has had a much better track record in Syria. They've kept their strong man in place. We've spent 15 years in a ramshackle Stone Age basket case like Afghanistan for 15 years, and we've got nothing to show for it. There's actually, Trump's right. We could learn from Putin in these parts of the world.
Nicely put. As always, Mark Stein, the best. Thank you.
It's the undeniable, truly reliable words of wisdom flows from every syllable in this recital. I'm the lead actor, winning this lyrical Oscar to capture and motivate the hip-hop landscape, conquer the world, proclaim the great. There's no time to waste in the case of people versus the hip-hop world. Who's guilty? That is the question. With Terran, we're the exception. Recognized as one of the best. No need to proclaim it, my rhymes will explain it. As I take you on the musical ride, lyrical genius is what I provide. Just like a conference, I'm the moderator. Back and forth on the crossfader. Just put those hands up high and wave them from side to side. You came to get your groove on, just let it go. Making this look easy, the ultimate proceeding was left at the beginning. When I grabbed a pen and pad, started writing rhymes, who could define? At the time, I didn't realize I was letting it go. This immaculate flow was hidden under the surface. My purpose, gaining momentum, the pendulum swinging, always bringing the best of the best. This contest, leaving wounds and scars. Here we are, the underdog has made it through the fog. You tend to walk as I tend to jog, gaining advantages from these savages, changing the way your mind operates. Let your soul just elevate, let it go. Just put those hands up high and wave them from side to side. You came to get your groove on, just let it go. Beats, rhymes, life, metaphors, mics, amps, venues, world tours. These are a few of my favorite things. Rocking these lines, choruses I sing. To me, that's the right combination. Energy, heart, soul, and dedication will be the benchmark for the future. Donating things that outgrew you on your 9 to 5. Stress of the world, work overtime to pay your last dime. To the bill collectors, the government, no conscience taking every red cent. That's why we can't wait till the end of the week, so our souls can reach that other plateau. As I show how to release and let it go, let it go. Just put those hands up high and wave them from side to side. You came to get your groove on, just let it go. Just put those hands up high and wave them from side to side. You came to get your groove on, just let it go. You've got to just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go.